Chris Martin of Daiwa, who's been gracious enough to lead us through a lot of their travel rod options. And we're thrilled by the number of travel rod options, particularly specialty rods that they have. But obviously you can't just bring your rod when you go on vacation or multiple rods. You need reels to go with them. And I'm always baffled by spinning reels because there's so many different price points and you want to get value, but you also don't want to leave anything on the table. So Chris, do you have thoughts, for a general freshwater or inshore application as to a spinning reel that you might recommend?
Yeah, absolutely. So like you said, when you're traveling, it could be a freshwater destination, brackish, saltwater destination. You don't necessarily want a reel for each application. In the best situation, you've got a reel that can do a little bit of everything. So the reel that we recommend for most applications, certainly one of our most popular reels in the Daiwa lineup, is going to be the Fuego LT model. So this is a reel model that we would recommend pairing up with like our Dito smaller game rods, called a bass rod, but again, we talked about it's great for saltwater application too. Also be a good reel to pair up with maybe one of the surf outfits or even one of those Procyon telescoping rods. What makes the reel great for both fresh and saltwater application comes down to a few factors. So for the salt application, the Fuego model has our mag seal. So that's a magnetic oil barrier that runs along the main shaft that prevents any kind of salt or debris or sand or anything like that from getting into the internals of the reel. So you've got great corrosion prevention with that feature. Moving on from there, we switched up the body against the previous generation model. This one is going to have a solid Zion composite body. The previous generation model was a carbon light. We wanted to reinforce that, get the reel with a little bit more rigidity to it. So it's a reel that is definitely built for inshore applications. Doesn't mean it has any faults with using it in freshwater as well. It's not really going to be any heavier than a traditional freshwater spinning reel either. So, some of the other great features that you're going to find on the Fuego LT are some features that you might see on our higher end reels as well. Things that it would exist on the Exist, for example, which would be the hyperdrive system. So the Fuego model has two features of the hyperdrive system. That's going to be the hyperdrive rotor as well as the hyperdrive bail. So a nice light wire bail, easily trippable, and a nice light rotor. So you get a really effortless rotation. It's going to match up well and balance out well with any of those lighter weight travel rods.
Do you have reels that can be used for surf fishing or larger species or even offshore applications that are maybe a little bit bigger or heavier duty than that one?
Yes, absolutely. So, yesterday or the other day we were talking about the Ardito surf rods as well as the Saltiga models. So we'll start with a baseline reel. This is the Daiwa BG. This is one of our flagship reels. It's just the absolute workhorse of the BG spinning lineup. This is a reel designed for saltwater application. Big gears, big digi-gear cut inside there, aluminum construction body, oversized handle assemblies, nice aluminum rotor as well, carbon fiber drag system, and a sealed drag system via a gasket tucked within the inside of the drag cap. Nice oversized line guides to catch your line when it's tripping. What I will mention on the BG models, which some of your viewers might not know, is that the BG lineup does have a trippable bail mechanism up to the 4500 size. So this is a 5000 size model. As you'll see, go to rotate, it's not going to trip itself. That's something that you have to do manually. They're designed that way on purpose to preserve the lifetime of the bail wire and the bail mechanism as well as the line roller assembly. So when you get this reel, don't fret that you think that the reel's broken. It's just a manual bail. It's going to be for your best interest to begin with. Another great feature on this model is the braid ready spool. So ready to go for braided line, which we definitely recommend. Lasts forever, no stretch. You can add whatever pound leader you want to it. It's really the workhorse of the saltwater spinning category. Starting at a $129 price point, you can't really go wrong. It's a reel that you can really put through the paces, and when it comes time to get it serviced, send it to Daiwa. We'll do a full service on a reel like this for $30 and send it back to you for shipping included. So those guys of you that are traveling around a lot, using the reel for a couple of weeks at a time, you find that maybe it's starting to get a little bit rough on you after your travels, send it in to us, do all that. Now what I will say to that effect, and this is going to apply to the Fuego model as well, when you're traveling, you do want to take care of your equipment. Rinse it off with fresh water after you're done using it. Even if you're fishing in a freshwater environment, there is still some salinity content in that water. There might be some sediment in that water, algae, things of that nature that you don't want caking up on the reel or getting in between, the componentry. So rinse it off with fresh water, bring it inside, let it dry out. The other thing about spinning reels while they're in storage, after you've dried them off and done all that, make sure you back the drag off. It's a really important thing to maintaining that smooth drag. If you keep it locked down over a time period, you can develop flat spots in the drag washers themselves. Not so much of a problem with carbon drags, but we have a lot of different materials in our reels, so you want to make sure that either way, whether it's carbon fiber or graphite or the felt drag washers that you'll see like on the Fuego models, you want to back that drag off to preserve the smoothness of that drag system. So really important things there. So
if someone, obviously the BG is a great choice at a great price point, but if someone wants to go a step up the ladder or so, do you have another option beyond that, and what are the relative advantages of that?
Absolutely, yeah. So BG is a great reel to get started with. Once you've decided that you want to step your game up to a little bit more quality and a little bit more corrosion resistance, a little bit more durability, we direct you toward the Saltist MQ model. So what makes the Saltist MQ a great reel for saltwater application are a few features. I talked about the mag seal that's present on the Fuego model already. You'll find the same mag seal on the Saltist as well. So again, that's a magnetic oil barrier that seals the main shaft as it's moving up and down. So you're not going to have water intrusion, debris intrusion into the reel body. That's all taken care of with that. Same waterproof gasket seal on the drag system as well. When it comes to the reel body, you'll notice a major difference between the Saltist and the BG model. So this is called the BG MQ for a reason. The MQ stands for the monocoque construction body. Funny name, MQ for short. But you'll see on the BG model, we've got all these frame screws that kind of seal that plate onto the side. On the Saltist model, you don't have any of those screws present. So those screw ports present an opportunity for water to pool and therefore cause corrosion if not taken care of properly. To alleviate that or remove that entirely, we've come out with the MQ body style. This entire panel seals onto the side of the reel. It's supported by 2 gaskets internally as well. So you've got a full seal on the side of that where no water can pool, corrode, cause intrusion, and start damaging the internal components. The other awesome thing about that is because those screws aren't in the way, we can get a gear that is about 40% thicker, larger than the gearing on the BG model. So you've got a bigger gear, better geared contact, more pressure that can be applied to those gears. So
the first thing I noticed about this reel is the really cool coloring.
Yep.
But the second thing I noticed is this handle knob. What's
Yeah.
the purpose behind that, and why does it differ from some of the other reels I've seen?
Yeah, so this is the first reel that Daiwa introduced with what we call an arc knob, an aluminum round knob. It was just something that we found in Japan that was really popular, that we really liked, wanted to bring into the US market. seems to be really popular. People are really tending to like it. What's great about it, in my opinion, is it's not EVA, it's not cork. It's not going to degrade in the sun. It's not going to get too hot. Not when your hands get wet. It's not going to get overly slippery. When you got fish slime on your hands, it's just that solid metal. So it's easy to grab onto, and it's also easy to find when you're working a bait or things like that. Easy to work with, and just a really good feel in the hand. Aluminum is going to last you a very, very long time. We were also going to talk about transportation.
Absolutely. I always worry when I put my reel in my suitcase or my carry-on that it's going to get smashed or otherwise compromised. What do you do to prevent that?
Yeah, so the most important thing after cleaning, after doing all that kind of stuff, is you want to disassemble the handle off of the reel. That's the best thing that you can do, along with having a good carrying case for the reel to go inside of. Obviously some padding and all that kind of stuff is great for the reel. But you definitely want to take the handle off of the reel. With the MQ body style specifically, the handle is directly connected to the drive shaft that runs the main gear. So you don't want to be putting it in a position where if it could sustain an impact, could cause damage to that drive shaft. So removing the handle on this reel, the BG, the Fuego, it's all the same. Anti-reverse engaged. This reel doesn't have an anti-reverse to speak of, or a anti-reverse switch to speak of, so you don't have to worry about that. On the Fuego, you gotta flip the switch, BG, flip the switch, but make sure it's engaged, and then you'll simply run it backwards. Unwind it off the reel body. Go ahead and place it into whatever carrying case that you'd like. Keep the handle a little bit separate from it. Maybe put a layer of cloth in between, and just, to prevent them from rubbing and causing abrasions on each other. Once you've done that, you're pretty much good to go and start traveling with it. Bail wire, not to worry about. It can deal with being set like that for an extended period of time, no problem. Even if it goes and kind of gets kinked like that, not going to be an issue. So that's pretty much the best thing. Take the handle off. Make sure you preserve the drive shaft on these models.
Thanks, Chris. Daiwa has really upped the game for traveling anglers, not just the specialty rods, but obviously reels that are made specifically for them.
Right.
We're just thrilled to see your commitment to this, and we look forward, whether we're going on a specific fishing trip where we're not sure they'll have good tackle, or we're just going someplace not to fish but want to have something with us. You seem to have us covered.
Absolutely, yeah. So we got plenty of other options for you guys to check out at the Daiwa website. You guys can give a call to Half Past First Cast. I'll be glad to answer any questions you guys have as well.